All right, welcome back to Just Another Solar Podcast with Luke Beattie. That's me, Carl Jensen. How are you, mate?
Mate, cracking day here in Victoria, 30 degrees. So, the beer couldn't come soon enough this Friday. It's been a long week. Yeah, I think
It's
we're
been
on
a long year, man. The people that I'm speaking to, everyone's a bit weary. Everyone's looking forward to a break. With the cheap own batteries program and everything going on, it seems like there's some very well-deserved holidays out there. Plenty of people working through to New Year's too, but that's how it is. Industry legend Nigel Morris. How are you, Nige?
I'm good, thanks, team. Good to see everyone.
Good to see you, mate. I've been seeing lots of you since you jumped into the Smart Energy Council. I open socials, there's Nige. I open emails, there's Nige. You're doing a cracking job there, mate, getting the message out there. But yeah, I see lots of you, Nige.
Yeah. We've been really busy. There's been a lot of things to talk about, and plenty more to come.
And probably the biggest topic of this week has been the cheap owned batteries program. So I know the Smart Energy Council had a call about it. There's a whole lot of chatter online from people saying that the budget's almost done. It'll be done in June. After that, it's not going to continue. Other people saying, well, hey, it's there under the SRES. It's going to continue. But Nige, you have some breaking news around what's happening. Do you want to give context first?
Sure. Yeah. Sure. So by the time this episode goes to air, there would have been a second webinar by the Smart Energy Council, which I hope lots of people tuned into, which gave the Minister an opportunity to make an announcement about the adjustments to the scheme that we forecast were likely to come. Now, I think firstly it's worth saying that of the many companies that I've spoken to over the last few weeks, as we've been in negotiation with the government around this scheme, everyone has been pretty much universally aligned in, we need about this much notice and we're concerned about these issues and, we need some ongoing sustainability to keep this scheme rolling. At the same time, as we talked about on the earlier webinar this week for our members, the AEMO and the AEMC both came out in the last week with reports showing that large scale wasn't happening fast enough, and to deliver the 82% reduction that the government is committed to, it was all about distributed batteries. And so yesterday, the Minister announced what those changes are going to be. And so firstly and foremost, they have announced another $5 billion worth of top up to the scheme.
Wow.
So in addition to the 2.3 that was already put in, another 5 billion. So we're almost 7.5 billion into this program now.
How many zeros is that, Nige?
It's a lot, Carl. You're the numbers guy. I'm going to count on you.
That's a lot of zeros, mate. Yeah, that's a lot of MCGs.
Talking about
that's a shitload of batteries.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, on the current projections, it's looking like about 40 gigawatt hours of storage by the time that money is exhausted. So, really good. So the good news is Treasury has found the money. The good news is the government has really done an outstanding job of listening to industry and adjusting it in a way that hopefully minimises the pain and maximises the benefits. So what does that mean? It means that, in short, it's kind of business as usual until May the 1st in 2026. So there is a reduction that's going to happen in the battery rebate scheme on the 1st of January. That will continue as planned. And then on May the 1st, a new tiered rebate will come into effect. So from 0 to 14 kilowatt hours, no change. 100% rebate still applies under the standard STC multiplier that would be in force then. From 14 to 28 kilowatt hours, there will be a 60% payment on the rebate. So they're basically slicing that off by 40%. And then from 28 to 50, the rebate drops to 15%.
So what that's going to do, I know that I'm not even going to name and shame because it's a very, very well-known company that's partnered with a retailer in New South Wales, and they've been offering 50 kilowatt hours for $4,000 and $100 installation. So I did a bit of groundwork, and I realized that the cost of the batteries is covered almost spot on by the rebate.
Yep.
Which means, we're talking minimal margin, installer gets paid, but we're not just talking about, customers that require that sort of storage and have a PV system sufficient for it. We're talking about churn and burn sales companies selling those batteries. So I support this and say some people will benefit from having the larger battery, but these sales tactics of using Carl's example he loves of selling to little old ladies 50 kilowatt hour batteries that they don't actually need, I think it's going to address that. So number one, great to hear that there's more money in the budget for it. The benefits are there. It does reduce energy costs, and also it reduces costs of maintaining grids and augmenting grids and
better
all
yet,
that sort of stuff.
We've missed the main thing here, in that instead of having a scheme that's all over in another 6 months, we've now increased the depth of how far that money will go. So it's going to do thousands more installs than it would have before, and that's critically important. We want to share it amongst as many people as we can.
Yeah, the goal of what the government tried to do was to give us sustainability first, so the program does run on. Secondly, it is to disperse it more appropriately across more systems, so to build more diversity into the scheme and get more systems out there. And thirdly, to adjust it for the changing market conditions. And actually, there's one of the other subtle changes that is in the press release from the minister is that from 2027 onwards, there's the option to do a 6-monthly review rather than a 12-monthly review. So I guess what the government's realised is, it makes heaps of sense, and amazing job on behalf of the government and Minister Bowen to actually and Treasury to thank you Treasury for the extra billions.
They're all pretty much your mates now, aren't they?
No,
the SEC.
no,
You're all buddies.
I rely very, very heavily on David at the Smart Energy Council, the new Wayne, who is doing an awesome job, and of course John and a number of other our Good Guys, Tim and various others in the background who have been very, very busy negotiating. But yeah, I think it's a real win for government. I think it's a win for consumers. I think it's a win for the industry to actually land something this massive.
It's unbelievable. If you went back 12 months and said that we're going to install 4 gigawatt hours worth of residential batteries by this time, you just wouldn't have believed it. There's nothing that's happened anywhere in the world that's comparable.
That's right. And on the webinar I had the other day, I reminded everyone that this is currently, arguably, we are now the biggest residential home battery market in the world. We have one of the most generous rebates, if not the generous rebate in the world. Even after a haircut, it's still going to be one of the most generous rebates in the world, and billions and billions and billions of dollars put in by the federal government to stimulate this and take us to, we're watching history in the making, and we're creating a new way of managing energy on a massive scale. So it's wonderful, again, to be in the middle of history changing us around us.
For sure. Now, we're in the season of Christmas and Christmas parties. We had ours last night, which I don't know the logic of having a work Christmas party on a Thursday night. Doesn't work out that well. Jess isn't on the episode today because she's at the work Christmas party. But bouncing off the Cheap Home Batteries program, everyone's been working very hard. Everyone's been running around. So my advice is enjoy yourself, but remember to be safe, everyone. If you're blowing off steam, just keep it good. Okay, so coming back to seeing you everywhere, Nige, and in the media and everywhere else, there's another solar module plant that's opening up in Australia.
True, yeah. I was fortunate enough to be invited to the opening of the Hunter Solar Foundry. It was a sod turning event, as they call it. So there's nothing there yet except a big empty block of land. And Dr. Zhenrong Shi, famous Dr. Shi, who founded Suntech, was one of Dr. Martin Green's earliest students. is the man behind this one, and some great Australian financial institutions backing the scheme, and some federal money from ARENA. Really, really great. 300 megawatts initially, capable of up to 500 megawatts. So I haven't actually got all the details yet, and have a meeting coming up with a couple of the guys to dig in a little bit more. But my understanding is essentially it's going to be a modco, so it'll be an assembly plant. But the great news is, being brand new, they're going to use the latest equipment. They're going to use the latest technologies. And so it's a wonderful opportunity to have a brand new facility. And I also think it's great news for Tindo, our old friends down in Adelaide, the only other Australian-based solar manufacturing facility, because now there's competition in the Australian market, which is very, very healthy. It means that there's not just one player. It means there's multiple players now. So that actually makes it easier for the government to support Australian-made projects. So I think that is a really, really good thing. They have a guaranteed offtake agreement where they can potentially incentivise Australian-made gear by having a choice of not just one entity. So I think it's good news for consumers and everyone else as well. I can't wait to see that get up. I gather it's going to happen pretty quickly, and really good opportunity to be right on to the west of them. They've got the traditional coal mines and coal generation facilities that are closing down in the Hunter Valley, and then they've also got Newcastle to the east, where they've got direct access to ports for export. So really great location and good for the local community.
That's awesome, man. And do you know about the actual products? I know that Sunman does framed panels, but they also have the non-framed panels that are good for flexi roofs and different designs. Do you know what they're going to actually be manufacturing there?
No, I couldn't pin down everyone on the day due to the frenzy of activity and press. So as I say, I'll come back with a report on what the product mix is likely to be and the tech that they're going to use there over the coming weeks.
Awesome. Now, Spotify Wrapped is out. Everyone's been talking about their Spotify Wrapped, but we also get a Spotify Wrapped for the podcast. So I think approximately 40%, 50% of our audience listens on Spotify. So we've got some pretty cool stats out of there. Our top spot on the charts was 36, and we're there for 12 weeks. So 36 out of all the podcasts in Australia on Spotify. I was pretty happy with that.
36.
That's awesome.
It's not currently. I checked it yesterday. So that was the peak. Our total new audience is up 440%. Our followers are up 38%. The listening hours is off the charts. And top countries, number 1, Australia. Number 2, any guesses?
America.
I would have said Asia.
Asia, okay. Interesting. So New Zealand, which makes a whole lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense, yeah.
UK, number 3. United States, number 4. Shout out to our UK and United States listeners. Number 5 is curious because it's Austria.
Wow.
Of course, our friends from Fronius are there, and there's a whole community there. So shout out to Fronius and all the Fronius employees who listen to us. Or
half the factory
I'm guessing
listening to our podcast. Awesome.
They're amazing stats. They're amazing stats.
And
I've got a tear welling up in my eye.
Yeah, we're a top 10 show for 702 fans. So shout out to all of you. Thanks for supporting us. We still feel like a bit of a backyard operation. Obviously, we're just doing this. We love servicing the industry and giving news and bantering. But thank you is all I'd say. It's been a great year. All right, Carl, and some news from Tesla. What's going on?
Yeah, so phone's been ringing off the hook for every Tesla retailer about Powerwall 2s not fully charging and only charging to 80%. And then charging later on in the afternoon. That's a good idea. It's a good idea for all batteries, not just Teslas. Sitting them at 100% at 9 o'clock in the morning for 8-10 hours of the day until it starts discharging at 8:30 at night isn't very smart for any battery. And I think we'll see more of that smarter battery management being rolled out across other brands as time goes on. So yeah, good thing. But it did catch a few people by surprise.
How interesting. So do we know, well, is that the motivation, do you think? Do we know why they have made this change? Is it about trying to get better longevity out of the batteries? Is that their motivation?
They are an NMC Panasonic cell 21700 in that Powerwall 2 battery. It's not an LFP chemistry. So just like Tesla cars, they recommend you only charge them to 80%. So I guess they figured that the 38.5 megawatt hour warranty would be better served by managing those cells better.
Wow. So that's really interesting, actually. It brings up an issue that I've had a lot of conversations about recently when it comes to, manufacturers being able to reach in and change the behavior of a product after you've bought it, right? It could be for really good, could be for safety, as we've heard lately. It could be for longevity. It could be for all sorts of reasons. But it raises some really interesting consumer issues here, because if you bought something expecting that you're going to be able to access the full capacity of that battery, and you can't necessarily do that anymore, and you don't necessarily have control over it, that's I understand the science behind it, but it raises some interesting consumer issues in my head.
Also for the retailers, right? Because they've got to estimate what the customer's going to get in terms of generation and storage and how it's going to impact.
Right.
So there's a whole lot outside of their control, I suppose. So very interesting. It's not a bad thing that these batteries are able to be remotely controlled. All right, guys. So today we're going to be joined by two of the good fellows from GoodWe. We've got Shane, and he's the sales manager, and we've got Gaven, the pre-sales engineer. Now, we've previously had Dean for a very short snippet. I think that was the last year's wrap for the year. We had Dean. And now we've got two of the guys from GoodWe, one of the leading inverter manufacturers. So g'day, Shane. G'day, Gaven. How's it going?
Hey, guys. Pleasure to be here.
So starting with you, Shane.
Yeah.
Give us the elevator pitch of what your journey's been in the industry and how you landed at GoodWe.
Yeah, sure. So I guess like a lot of people in the industry, I started selling solar at a retailer, and from there I transitioned to work for a manufacturer in their service team. So getting into the know-how of how inverters work, and then from there someone said, hey, why don't you give sales a go? And at that time I was like, don't really want to. So but then I did. And then started an inverter manufacturer, and then made the move to GoodWe about 4.5 years ago, and been here ever since.
Massive growth in that 4 years too.
Yeah, I don't take all the credit.
Kudos to Dean.
Yeah.
Coming on board and what he's achieved in that time. For him, he had his progression into that role. He's done well, but also, been very prominent, always showing up in the SunWiz data as, in the top bracket for all the states really. So congrats to everything you guys have achieved. And you've been there 4 years, so obviously it's not too terrible for you, mate.
Yeah, that's right. We've got a good team. From when I started 4.5 years ago, team was a small team, and then grown to have nearly 30 people now, and all good fellows. We all get along really well. So we just had our Christmas party last week, so it was good to catch up with everyone. But going well.
Well, lucky you. We had our Christmas party last night, and that makes for a pretty rough day.
Absolutely.
Anyway, sorry, Nige.
And you had a little dalliance with the Prime Minister too, Shane.
Yeah, that was that was an experience. It's a funny story. We're actually my wife at the time was 36 weeks pregnant, and we're at the hospital getting one of her scans done, and I've just turned to her in the waiting room going, hey, might have the Prime Minister come around to our house in a couple of days. And she's gone, what are you talking about? So, happened quickly. I think we got told on the Tuesday, and then on the Friday it was there. And, it was an experience. It's a story you'll tell the grandchildren how came to your house to have a look at the system.
What does it look like? What's the juggernaut? Because I suppose the media turns up, probably the fixer, whether it's the SEC or whoever's doing the fixing for it.
Yeah.
So the Prime Minister turns up, says g'day to you. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Everyone sees what happens in the news or in the media.
Yeah.
What happens before? What happens from when he turns up?
Yeah, so I guess the day before he has, I guess she was a senior advisor, I think her title was, and she comes to the house with the head of security, and he's going through all the rooms, asking about the neighbours, having a look around, I guess, looking, sussing everything out, who's going to be here, where are the hidden rooms, etc. And then she's there to kind of just play the good guy, I guess, and just explain how it all works. And then on the day she came again 2 hours before, a bunch of security guys, and then we had the local minister as well. He came an hour before, so he's there before, and then all the press come. I think we had 7, 9, and 10 there. They set up in the backyard, and then you get they're on the phones and they're going, oh, he's 5 minutes away. So we all got to go out to the front and welcome him. And he comes through and he was in the garage, had a look at the system, and then had a quick chat with him while all the cameras are there, and then out to the backyard, and he fields all the questions from the press, and then
because they're just really getting B-roll from you, right?
correct,
You're just the homeowner there shaking your hand.
That's right.
And your
that.
wife is 36 weeks pregnant, so that's perfect media fodder,
That's
right?
right,
Where you're shaking hands
yeah.
and the pregnant wife. And...
It's just a pity, Shane, you couldn't have had that baby, so it could have been kissing babies as well, you know?
Yeah, I had a couple of weeks early, yeah. So my 2-year-old was there, so they made us pull him out of childcare for the day, so we had to have him there, and then we've got a golden retriever as well. They're like, yeah,
the dog as well.
Have the dog there. The young family, they want the whole thing. Like, yeah, have the dog there. I was like, you sure you want him in the house? And they're like, no, let him run. Prime Minister loves dogs. And then, yeah, I had my 2-year-old there. So if you look at the photos, there's one photo, I'm trying to hold my son Parker. And he's trying to fight me, trying to get off me because he wants to go in the backyard because everyone's set up over there to see what's going on. And I'm like, no, it's the Prime Minister. You got to stay here. So it was an experience, that's for sure.
Now, I'm always interested to chat to solar people about what they've put on their house. Now, I'm going to make some assumptions here. I'm guessing that the inverter and batteries are GoodWe.
Correct.
Tell us about the system.
Yeah, correct.
And who installed it and what else do you have there? And tell us about, obviously the GoodWe gear as well.
Yeah, of course. So I moved into this house about 18 months ago. So we just, before the battery rebate, so got a 10 kilowatt MS, single phase house. So with 13.3 kilowatts of Jinko panels. And then, when the battery rebate came up, I thought, hey, why not? So then we AC coupled it with an EH5 kilowatt and 19.2 kilowatts of batteries. And we're actually doing the Amber integration on my place as well. So we're doing a bit of testing on that. That's what I've got, 19. And both my wife and I have got, she's got a plug-in hybrid. I've got an EV. So we've got the EV charger as well. And, all working nicely together on the platform.
A full picture of electrification.
Exactly right. Exactly,
Cool.
And that EV charger integration, that's really critical, Shane, so that you can, make use of all of your energy that's landing on your roof.
Definitely. You feed it back to the grid for the 1 cent. I'd rather have it plugged into my car and, charging my car up and my wife's car. Charge the batteries and then feed the cars. It doesn't matter. I'll have it plugged in even if it's 80% because I'm thinking might as well top it up instead of getting the 1 cent from the grid. So having it all work together on the platform really helps.
That's cool. So coming to the GoodWe solutions, though, I've seen the launch and I was having a bit of a flick through of the ESA, which is an all-in-one battery that you guys have come out with.
Yeah.
So what was the motivation for that product? So going from having a separate inverter and stackable battery to an all-in-one, and give us the rundown.
Yeah, of course. So all-in-one. I mean, we've seen the market, slowly shifting to these all-in-one options. And we wanted to make it easy to install for the installers. So right now we've got the single-phase option out. So it's a 5 kilowatt to 10 kilowatt inverter, and then modular batteries, which are either 5 or 8 kilowatts, and you can stack them up to 6 modules. So we just wanted to make it easy, and then I guess you can customize what batteries, and you can add batteries on later on with ease. So we just want to make it easy for the installers, but also attractive for the homeowners as well.
So what's the size of the modules? What's the size of the stacks? How many stacks?
Yeah.
So you put together
for single phase, so you can have up to 6 modules. So you can mix and match 5 and 8s, and then the inverter size is a 5, 6, 8, and a 10. We do have a 3. It's just not really one we bring into Australia. It's just no point having a 3 kilowatt hybrid in this market. And then early next year we'll launch our 3-phase version, and then you can have the ability to parallel additional towers, but I'll let Gaven explain the details on that one. He's a bit more.
All right, can I bring Gaven in?
Yeah,
because I want to understand what does the backup look like both in single phase and for 3-phase, because we know there's this whole conversation around whether houses need whole of house backup or limited backup, what they actually need. So Gaven, do you want to give a rundown just about what they actually do for us?
But basically, when we talk about the full house backup for the single phase system, normally it still depends on the grid to the your house breaker size. So normally the breaker size is 63 amps. So for the whole industry, we use this like a default current size for the full house backup for single phase system. And for the ESA, the whole series, in the internal circuit of the backup side, it supports up to 63 amps of the bypass current. So if you, for example, if you put all the loads at the backup side, because your load is installed for the house already, so you know the load will never go over the 63 amps. And then if the grid have some fault or not working, and you can switch simply through the we will provide a changeable switch, so that if your grid is there but the inverter has some fault, you can simply switch to the grid.
So it's a manual bypass switch.
Yeah,
inbuilt.
That's
so
right.
that's inbuilt into the solution then.
Yeah. All the things is inbuilt except the switch. So switch is a separate part, but we already provide in the inverter box. So if you want to do the full house backup for your system, you just need to install the switch and then do some simple wiring, and it can work very well. So there's no need for like extra gateway or the extra backup box to realize that.
I learned a bit, one of the other things that I really liked about your solution was that you guys have worked really hard on, I think it was 1C, charge and discharge rates, right? And I had a call from an old friend of the family the other day, a young couple who, building their first house, and they were thinking, oh no, we've got to ring someone who knows and talk about getting a battery, and they said, oh, we've got this cracker deal that's, this 40 kilowatt hour battery for, $5,000 or $6,000. And I said, okay, look, send me through the quotes, I'll have a look. And of course the challenge was that they only had a 5 kilowatt inverter on there, and I had to explain to them that, it was nice being able to take advantage of the rebate and get that really, really huge battery, but, they couldn't charge it and they couldn't discharge it because they were limited by the small inverter size. And so it really brought it home to me when I heard that you guys are laser focused on this stuff with the bypass switch included and with the 1C charge rate and some high power inverter capabilities as well. So you guys have really, it feels to me like you guys have really tuned this product for the Australian market, right?
Yeah, definitely. This has been the product we've had in development for quite a while, and it really has been tailored for the Australian market. The Australian market's the first one to get this product. It will be launched in other markets, but it did allow us to have a lot of input into developing this product. Obviously the battery rebate helped, but we have really tried to make this for Australian homeowners, for Australian installers. So we have tailored everything to make it, as seamless as possible for this market. But yeah, we like to think that this is really for this market.
It was pretty impressive actually, and I think I mentioned.
Well, no, full disclosure. Wait, you were in China as a guest of GoodWe.
I was.
I saw you there eating the food and all the frivolity, but also saw pictures at the factories and everything else.
That's right. Yeah, I was, and I was a guest of GoodWe, very, very kindly and generously. A couple of us went over to have a look around. But I mean, when you go to an actual battery factory and you go, right, the vast majority of this is actually heading for Australia. It's pretty wild because you're seeing it at scale, and actually going to the back of the battery warehouse where there's this phenomenal multi-story robotic storage facility for batteries that are coming off the line. And they said, don't get too close, don't lean over that thing, whatever you do. And things are whizzing past and they're just shoving batteries into multi-story racks. You really start to get a perspective then on not only what it takes to actually make a battery, but how do you handle them safely? How do you store them safely? How do you do that and maximize your opportunities for automation and stuff like that? So it was really impressive to see that firsthand. And shout out to you guys and the guys over in GoodWe in HQ who really built some amazing facilities. And I think I've talked about this elsewhere, but it also really opened my eyes to the fact that GoodWe don't just do inverters and batteries; they actually do a whole range of all sorts of fascinating products. And your HQ was 19 stories or 12 stories or something. It's
Hard
always
to understand
amazing.
the scale of these plants until you actually go to them.
Totally.
So true.
I mean, even myself, I went there, and it was the first inverter manufacturing facility I'd seen. I was like, whoa, I can't believe how big this place is. I can't believe this is the company I work for, and this is how it all works. It's just, the headquarters as well. It's a massive building. Wouldn't look out of place in, Melbourne CBD or anything like that. It's it's pretty.
That's right.
GoodWe doing their own cells, or are they coming from?
No, we procure
approved supply.
Yeah.
That's pretty typical.
Yeah.
But it's good. So tell us more, man. What's going on in the world of GoodWe? Cheap home batteries program must have been a massive spike for you guys. How's the supply of your stock into the country?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's the hot button topic. This rebate came on so quickly. We were caught off guard. We weren't the only ones that had supply issues, but there was no denying it. It was just about getting as much stock here as possible. But with this all-in-one, we have secured an exclusive supply in the battery cells we use in this product. So it does allow us, to have a bit more understanding of what cells we got, because on the other models we were fighting with some other manufacturers for the same cells, and you get told, hey, this is how much you're getting, and you've got to base your allocation on that. Where with this one we have a steady supply.
What I'm interested in is how's the reaction been, because it's been really talking about batteries for years and years and years and years and years, and DC coupled and the more traditional way of buying and selling batteries has been the rage for ages, and for years I've been going, I've got a feeling that these stackable, modular, super fast to install products are going to eke their way into more and more market share, and when you look at what's going on in the market now, you go, everyone's racing that way. Everyone seems to be looking for stackability. I know when I got my system installed recently, I was looking for slimness and stackability and expandability and flexibility. I wanted AC and DC coupling just in case something I might need that. Off-grid capability, all those kind of things. And you can't please everyone though, and you've got to keep yourself focused when you're developing products and not try and be, you can't delay, or else you'll just never get the product to market. So, what were the things that you guys felt were most important, and how's the market reacted to this new one? Yeah,
great question. I guess some of the things we found were the most important were, scalability, the ability to add cells battery modules later on, with simplicity. So we found that as a key point, because, battery rebate aside, people sometimes like to add to their batteries later on as their family grows or their usage grows, as they fully electrify their house. So we wanted to make that as easy as possible. And then from the installer side, we wanted to make it as easy as possible.
Because traditionally with older batteries that weren't smart or managed, you came back 5 years down the track, and your capacity of the battery has changed. You put the same battery in there, and then you get a lowered impedance, and you get these issues where it's going to degrade the new battery more.
That's right.
So how has that been addressed then?
Yeah, so Gavin, would you like to answer that one on how...
Gavin's back, by the way, and we're not strangers to technical difficulties. I'm going to say that. We're still like the backyard operation, I suppose. But this particular episode, Carl's been in and out like the hokey pokey. Gavin's been in and out. Anyway, Gavin's back. Yes. Gavin, we're talking about the battery modules, and two things about it. So the first thing we're just talking about is being able to come back and easily add to systems down the track, how that's addressed. But also when you dropped out, I was also asking about the actual architecture of the battery modules. So we got to prismatic cells, and that was about it.
So I think for the new all-in-one batteries, it's quite different from the traditional high voltage batteries. So previously, for some traditional ones, you need to stack to a lot of modules to achieve that high voltage and can work with the inverter. But for the new battery, we bring a new architecture for it. So as you may know, for each module, it has a separate. It have its own BMS and also a DC-DC converter. So each module have the ability, which is the DC-DC converter, to ramp up its voltage from the low voltage.
So it's pretty much an optimizer at the module.
Yeah,
an optimizer at the module level.
Yeah, each battery can also include a optimizer, Actually, it's controlled by the BMS board in it, so it can keep balance with other battery racks in the same battery tower, so that they can perfectly work together and escape any potential risk of problem. And for each battery module, there are a lot of we call it 6-level battery safety protection. So it's from the cell level. So we are using the top level of the battery cells, and we also have the cell level monitoring function with some sensors in each cell strings, so that we can monitor it in cell level for its voltage and also for its SOC, so that it can make sure the system have a better performance and also have good safety, and also for the also keep the battery tower from the safety in system level, and also from the electrical and also mechanical aspect. And for some emergency scenario, we also in each battery module there's a battery there's some emergency measures, like the pack. Each pack will have a aerosol fire extinguisher with a pressure relief valve. So if there's really some emergency scenarios, I know they will, no one wants it to happen, but there's even we have a lot of safety protection measures.
Because ideally, it wouldn't even get to that point, right? Because there's other. I know SIG's got a similar thing. iStore's got a similar thing, and we're seeing more of these self-extinguishing pouches or something similar at the module level. As a really, a BMS and the management of the battery should mitigate any risks of fire.
That's right.
But that extra level of support. I just love that you've got 6 layers of protection. I remember going back to when I was at iStore. So using the Huawei architecture of batteries, and we'd be like, there's 3 layers of protection. Then SIG came out, they're like, we've got 5 layers of protection. I love GoodWe's come out and they got 6. So, Carl, lift your game, Carl.
We got 8, Luke. We got 8.
Oh, you got 8 now.
8. Whoa. Yeah, we've got 8. Yeah. They're all bullshit, but we've got 8.
Yeah.
No worries, we will have 9 level later.
Yeah, it's just brochure. It's just brochure stuff. Even the it's just stuff for the brochure. But at the end of the day, all batteries have a lot of safety features built in.
Yeah.
Very good. And one of the other things I noticed, and you guys brought to my attention, is that Alex Carey is a brand ambassador. Yeah. Now, for those who actually love cricket, and I am one of those, I've been watching the Ashes. I have no sympathy for the Poms when they get belted. 2 days in Perth and then in Brizzy. So it was great to see. But so the Australian wicketkeeper is there. Yeah. Now, I'm just going to put a disclaimer here that on the Solar Cutters page and some of the others, they're like, oh, bloody cricketers selling, because some of the retailers have done it. But number one, Alex Carey is an awesome ambassador. Yeah. So how did that come about? What's it look like to get on board one of the Australian cricketers? Yeah,
first of all, he, I guess through his agent, through cricket connections, and you're right, cricketers have got a bad rap in the solar industry at the moment. Some other reasons, but him through his agent actually reached out to us. I think he's quite passionate about renewables and clean energy, so he reached out to us to see if there was some sort of partnership we could do. And we were obviously on the lookout for someone that would be a GoodWe ambassador and is passionate about it. We'd been looking for a while, and we didn't want to just reach out to people who didn't really care. So the fact that through his agent, he actually approached us, made it very appealing, and he's a.
The timing was perfect though, with the Ashes tour going on, and I know that Pat Cummins has also done stuff with the Smart Energy Council, and he's also very passionate about energy transition and climate change and all that stuff. So shout out to Australian cricketers who get on board with the cause.
That's right, and he actually, when we met with him, he actually told us Pat Cummins was the one that kind of introduced it to him.
Yep.
So, great leadership, not just on the field, but also when it comes to these matters. And we got
great pair of gloves too.
Yeah, cool. We got to catch up. He was a ripper bloke. Just wanted to have a chat. We went and caught up with him at a pub, and we kind of felt we wanted to ask him questions. But he kept asking us questions about us, and wanted to know about what we did. And we're like, compared to you, ours isn't that interesting. But he was really, he wanted to know all the ins and outs, and the filming we've done with him. He's been completely on board, and he's very approachable for us as well. So yeah, we definitely got a good one there. And obviously, the last test match definitely helped with him.
Definitely. It's funny, isn't it? I hadn't really connected until we started talking about this, but cricketers have been the stalwart of brand ambassadors for the solar farm. I did a thing. It must be close to 20 years ago with Alan Border.
AB.
AB. Yeah, I've got an AB signed bat down in the garage. That, from a thing that he did around solar at least 20, 25 years ago. It was amazing. Cricket. So big shout out to Cricket Australia. They really worked out their target market for sponsorships.
Oh, absolutely.
That's so good. And what does it look like? So they're going to be B2C type ads and
yep. So
is that the plan?
Yeah, that's right. And then at the moment we've done a sponsorship deal through SEN. So he's done a bit of voice work for us on the SEN during the Ashes and the Big Bash and the Australian Open. So you'll be hearing a bit of GoodWe on there. And then he's done a bit of filming. So we're doing some ads in the cinemas as well that he'll be featured in. Yep. And we're hoping at some stage he can get out to one of the events as well, and he wants to, but with his schedule, it's quite difficult. But he's
you just got to hope that he gets a century in the next test or something.
That be unreal? I mean, that.
Come on, Alex.
Yeah, the way he kept in the last test, right up against the stumps, and
there was that catch. And
when
those who don't love cricket look away, but there was a catch that was right down towards fine leg. He was running, Labuschagne was running. It looked like they collided with each other, and that the balls just spilled. But he took that catch. It was one of the best wicket-keeper catches I've seen.
Definitely.
So for those who don't love cricket, sorry about that, but I happen to love the game.
Yeah, me too. But he's been great for us so far. So really proud to have him on board.
Imagine the days though, like when David Boone was playing Booney, and there was like this whole folklore around drinking 53 stubbies on the way, or 53 cans of beer on the way to the UK, and like you look at cricketers now, and they're so professional.
Yeah,
they're so professional, but. Yeah.
Could you imagine?
I'm sure there's still a bit of larrikinism. They just don't share the larrikinism anymore. I'm sure they're there still, but the days of Warney and Simons where they were just absolute larrikins on and off the field.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So bring back the larrikinism, I say.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So very interested to get your views and GoodWe's point of view on what you guys are up to. What's next? I mean, you have the ESA, you have the new stackable battery. Yep. What's next for you guys? What's ahead from here?
Yeah, well, I guess early next year we'll have the 3-phase version as well. So that'll be from the 5 kilowatt to the 30 kilowatt. And then we're also seeing, large growth in the commercial storage market. So we've got a number of solutions there. We've got all-in-one versions for that as well that start from, a 60 kilowatt battery with a 30 kilowatt inverter all the way up to an AC coupled 125 kilowatt inverter with 261 batteries, and then you can add to that. So that's a market that we're looking to.
What's that, like a 20-footer container thereabouts, around that size?
It's a bit smaller than that, but look, not pretty sizable. So
and is the target market? It sounds like it's a bit smaller than a utility target market. Yeah. So we're talking behind the meter commercial CNI customers.
Exactly.
Is that the go?
That's the market we're looking at.
What's the value prop to those sort of customers though?
I think for this big cabinet solution, we define these as from the small size CNI to some big CNI, like a few 30 or 50 kilowatt to 1 to 2 megawatt. That's the our aim to bring this products, and compare with the utility scale, so they can do some project that ahead of the meter, but most of the scenarios still be the behind the meter to doing some the peak shaving or self-use or something.
So reducing capacity charges and that sort of thing for those who are on capacity, and they've got. I know in WA there's the highest capacity days on a rolling. I think it's a dozen of them, and then on those high days, then they take a snapshot of the big energy consumers, and if they can shave off that peak on those capacity days, then they're
big money there.
Big money. Yeah.
And I think another scenario for these big CNI products is So it can also help the utility company to adjust to provide some reactive power support, so that you can keep your frequency, the voltage, the grid voltage, the grid frequency be stable. So that's another thing I think AEMO and also other utility attendees are doing. They call it FCAS. So right now we also, for the some big cabinet, especially the 261 cabinet, we're trying to achieve a FCAS ready function. And once we pass some test, and then we can also do these kind of scenarios.
How is the FCAS market though? Because we've seen a massive uptake of batteries. It used to be very lucrative. So of course, the first big Tesla solar farm in South Australia famously paid itself off in 18 months, and that was just on the FCAS. So the frequency support and auxiliary services to the network. Is that a diminishing market then?
I think the market has I think it had a good future. So previously, for the FCAS, it's more like the utility scale batteries to do it. But right now, you can see more and more projects. They just have 1 or 2 battery cabinet, but they still want to do the FCAS. So I think for the utility scale, it's more like some government or some big company, they invest it. But for the some small CNN products, it's more like some personal company or small company. They still want to join the FCAS market. So I think there's such kind of cabinet solution provide an opportunity and also provide an option for them to join on the market and earn a lot of benefits.
Now, Gaven, I want to give you an opportunity to give a shout out to either an EPC or a customer of GoodWe who's doing some really interesting stuff in that space. So pick one of your customers, pick someone who's really doing well with it, and give them a shout out. And why?
I think right now, because it's still we're still at the very early stage of these products, especially the big cabinet. So I don't really know too much about like the EPC company.
That's okay. Shane's chomping at the
Chomping.
bit. I can
He's
see.
chomping.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
Shane.
yeah,
Can
I-
I'm going to give a shout out to Solar Panel Options. Dan down there in the team, they do a lot of good work with this sort of stuff. So yeah, love all of them. But yeah, we'll give them a shout out.
I don't know them. Tell us about them.
Yeah,
Shane.
they're based in Melbourne. They probably one of our biggest commercial customers. They do a lot around Melbourne, also in Echuca. Yes, they do a lot of good work. They've been someone that we've lent on for advice in developing our commercial products, because they know our products through and through and what we can do better. We know it's not just us, but all inverter manufacturers. We could always be better, and the installers know the market, and we're always looking for feedback, not just from them, but from all the installers to let us know what will make their lives easier and what the market actually wants, because they're there at the coalface where we're a bit removed and we have ideas, but they know better than we do and what we need to do.
I can't wait to see the CNI market's been struggling, and I can't wait to see it come back. And when I was over in China visiting a bunch of different facilities that you guys are operating and seeing what you can actually do with VPPs at scale, and what you can do when you're reaching in and doing really sophisticated and clever stuff with VPPs or arbitrage or demand management and all those kinds of things. We're right on the edge of it now, and it really feels like in the next year or two, especially with this increased continuing support for batteries, it feels like there's going to be a surge in that commercial space when it comes back online, and it's going to be that sophisticated stuff that differentiates it. I mean, anyone can just upgrade a residential option and sell more batteries and shove them into a bakery or whatever. That's not complicated stuff. But when you actually really do it cleverly, it takes some really good engineering. It takes some really clever products. It takes really good back end support, and I can't wait to see that stuff happen in our market.
Totally agree. Yeah, well said. It's definitely the next step. It's been bubbling there for a while, but you're right. It feels like we're nearly at that tipping point where that's going to be a big part of the market. Absolutely.
The other challenge, of course, is the install capacity in installers. And we've spoken about this for a few years about saying, right, the government set some lofty goals in terms of reducing carbon emissions, in terms of solar. What the battery scheme has shown us is exactly where our install capacity is. And I've never had so many people call me and ask, do I know any installers with capacity and so on? So we can sort of see where the capacity is. And there was also an announcement that the Agrarian coal-fired plant, which I think is the largest coal-fired plant in the country, is going to be continuing for an extra 2 years beyond when they were going to close it. So that's required. Our EMO says we need this to use a crude term, keep the lights on. But it just shows like we're still here in competition for skilled installers and sparkies and grabbing the next generation, because that seems to be our biggest choke point. Apart from, I will say this, there seems to be enough batteries in the country to cover off all the installs, but installers and customers are selective about what they're going to install. So they want the newest, they want the greatest. So yeah, if no one was fussy about the batteries, there'd probably be enough in the country. But what we're seeing is the intermittency. But the real choke point is the install capacity collectively around the country.
I was just going to say, wait till Q1 next year, right? Because with this change in the rebate, boy, we're going to have to, before the rebate change, there's going to be a fairly substantial crush in the industry as everyone scrambles to get more and more products in before the rebates change. So yeah, but you know, the good news is we've had a lot of new people coming into the industry. We've had a lot of people learning the skills and getting some good practical experience. So, you know, it's, I guess, the other good thing that I hadn't even thought about really, but, you know, by the end of next year, we will have the biggest, most experienced trained workforce to install batteries in the world, probably.
Crazy to think about from where we were, you know, even from, obviously, from a GoodWe perspective, we were just selling MS, DNF. That was 80% of what we sold, and then on a dime, it's just shifted. We don't really sell that anymore.
What is the attachment rate? Do you have an idea of the battery attachment rate for GoodWe at the moment?
At the moment for us, I couldn't tell you the exact rate, but it's extremely high.
Just approximate. Give me.
Compared, you know, what we sell now, I'd say at least 90% are hybrids that are, you know, and the batteries are ordered separately, but in terms of, you know, what they're pairing together, it'd be at least 90%, you know.
And anecdotally, there's wholesalers around the country sitting on mountains of just grid connect inverters that aren't hybrids. So don't know what to do there.
Yeah, that's the next challenge, because, you know, an oversupply it's not good for anyone. You know, that's where the prices drop and stock gets dumped. So that's something we're obviously mindful from our point of view as well.
But who would have thought that, you know, could be pushing over 80%, 90% battery attachment? It's just insane.
Yeah, I know. You know, you just think about this time last year, and you never would have imagined we'd be here.
What's your take, Carl?
I think that my phone has overheated at least 3 times, and it's not a great solution. I think the battery attachment rate is an amazing change, you know, and, you know, we're a wholesaler that's in that position. And I actually called up a customer the other day who'd sold a Simo 10 Advanced, and it took us 15 minutes to move away all the stuff that was in front of it. It was on the top shelf, and there was a solid layer of dust over it. So it's fair to say that even at a third of what it would normally sell for, very difficult to move that stock, because it's just not a hybrid. So, you know, that is an absolute transformation. You know, Simo 10s were bread and butter machine before, and they're dead in the water, sitting on the shelf for a year.
Madness.
Yeah.
Madness. All right, guys, so we haven't got time for that much more. Usually we go around and just ask everyone for their last thoughts and comments, and we're going to start with you, Gaven.
I think, firstly, it's very glad for me to attend the podcast today, and very glad to talk with every guy, especially Nigel. You bring a lot of great news for us. So hopefully, next year we can get more money from the market, and we'll keep providing the best. Maybe not maybe not the only one, but we will keep our
Yeah.
product quality be the best on the market. Well, maybe one of the best on the market, and provide a better service to all our customers.
Because GoodWe, in terms of global inverter manufacturers, GoodWe's comfortably in the top 10. I'm guessing that's it, somewhere around 4 or 5, somewhere like that. So the scale is phenomenal. Just quickly though, Shane, before I get your last thoughts, because you guys have given your time, we always appreciate our guests taking time out of their day. You get to do like a commercial thing, which I don't think this episode has been. We're just curious about it. But GoodWe Rewards program is something that John, your marketing manager, mentioned. And hey, you know, if you guys can mention anything, can you mention that?
Yeah, sure.
So give us your elevator pitch on it.
Yeah, sure. So I guess for the installers who are out there doing the hard yakka, just make sure you're recording the serial numbers of the batteries, because we want to reward you. So if you go to goodwerewards.com, log those serial numbers in there, and if for each, well, right now it's a Lynx F battery module, you get a $50 reward to spend in the store in there. And that, you know, iPads, there's Visa gift cards, it's a bunch of different stuff. So just make sure you're recording those serial numbers and register on there. In the new year, the ESA will be added to that platform as well. Make sure you're taking full advantage of that, because we know some installers who haven't, but make sure you do that before you miss out.
That's cool. So they can bake the points and then they can actually get
exactly.
usable
You know,
stuff.
if you're struggling to think of Christmas gifts, go on there. There's a whole store, you know, buy the kids an iPad on there to keep them quiet on the road trips. But
Oh, really?
yeah, there's plenty of stuff in there.
Well, they can't go on social media anymore.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah,
Just
that's true.
as a quick aside, a couple of days ago that happened, and I texted my 14-year-old. I said, "How you going with the social media ban?" Because I actually saw her on Instagram, and she's like, "Oh yeah, it hasn't impacted me so far." I said, "What about your friends?" She said, "Oh, a couple of them, but most of them have worked it out by now."
Yeah.
Kids are smart. They all find a
Who
way
are you going to
around.
back? You know, a teenager or, you know, a government-backed IT body? But interesting. So any last comments apart from the reward store?
Yeah. I just want to thank all the installers out there. You know, they're working hard through Christmas, so just want to show some love to them. You know, they're the reason why we get to do this, and they're the ones driving the industry. But also, obviously, got to shout out Nige and the Smart Energy Council. You know,
Yeah, good on you, Nige.
you know, you guys are the ones keeping informed. You know, you've kept us up to date on all this, and what you've done in the market's just been incredible. So yeah, shout out to you guys. Shout out to everyone. Luke, Carl, thanks for having us. Really appreciate being on here.
Been so good. And Nige, before you were in the SEC, we used to sit here and give them kudos because they did this webinar, or they advocated with the government or something else. And now that's you. You jump on the webinar, it's you. There's advocacy going on, it's you. So stoked to have you on the podcast, Nige. I hope you don't get too big for us, mate. I hope you remember the little guys and keep. And
Mate, it's actually a dream, because, you know, when this stuff comes up and we need feedback from the industry, or we want to understand, you know, what does this program need to look like, or, you know, what kind of issues are important. I get to do one of my favorite things in the world, and that's ring around all the people, right, and get on the webinars and do polls, and, you know, so I feel very privileged and very lucky to actually have that role, and we're like Switzerland, you know. We try and talk to everybody. I get to talk to more people than I used to, because I'm out of the market. I am Switzerland now, so, you know, it's good fun. It's good fun.
last comments, Carl.
Thanks, Shane and Gavin, for coming on the podcast. It was always our pleasure to hear what you guys are up to. And with these newfound massive amounts of money, may you be prosperous. Congratulations.
Well said, Carl. And that goes for all of our listeners. Make hay while the sun shines. So, yeah, thank you, Shane. Thank you, Gavin, for coming on. Interesting to hear what GoodWe's up to and just generally what you're seeing out there in the market. So we're just going to have one more episode for the year, which is going to be our yearly wrap, which will be interesting. Jess will be back for that one. And then we'll be having a bit of a break for a few weeks, and we'll be back in the new year. So very excited about that. Like just having a break. Very exciting. So thank you to everyone for participating. Thank you for listening, watching. Make sure you do subscribe, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, whichever platform. Make sure you put it in there so you see when we get a new episode. We're doing our best to bring you the news, to bring you the issues, and to understand what's going on in the Australian solar and electrification industry. Until next time, we'll see you later.